Hi guys, once again welcome to my random stories, and if at all you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, kindly subscribe so that you can enjoy my random stories. I promise that I would be posting anytime I think of a random story. So this today, a ride with the cops in an ambulance unknowingly. Not unknowingly, like we had no idea that we were riding in an ambulance with the cops. Be my guest. So it's July, the month of 2016, and my father has just died. It's like he just died the previous weekend, but we are already back in the city because actually no, my father died when I was at home in the village. I had traveled. So it happened, and most of the time when your loved ones die and you want to see them and believe that it is truly happening, we just go and see the corpse, and then you come back to the whatever you are doing as we do the funeral arrangement programs. So I was back in the city with all the stress, with all the emotions. I was in college by then, fourth year student at the University of Nairobi, just sitting alone in my room, and anytime anybody saw me, they are sending me their condolences, and it made me break down. I needed someone to be close to. At night I could not catch my sleep. I was feeling my bed is too big, my room is too big, and I could have funny feelings. So I decided to call my niece. She's my niece, even though most of the time we call each other cousins because we've grown up together and we're just almost the same age and age set. So yeah, I call her and ask her what her plans is because she's working in town in a certain club. And she tells me the same thing. Actually, since grandfather died, I've been feeling so bad. I can't even fall asleep in the night. Jap, jap, jap. So I tell her, fine, it's a Friday and I think I can come to you. Then after a job, we can go together to your house and spend the weekend. She says, fine, that's okay. And I ask her when her shift ends, and she tells me that her shift ends from 11:30 to 12 in the night. That is midnight. So that day they were having a performance from an artist, a Luo Hangla artist, and that is Emma Jalamo was performing. The club itself is Samba Club in Nairobi town. So she tells me, you just come. When you are at the entrance, just let me know, because there was an option of a voucher. I remember it was like 300 shillings voucher. You redeem it once you are inside the club, so that there is no idle sitting. And she just told me, once you are at the entrance, just give me a call and then I will see what to do. So yeah, I was automatically going to get the chance to get inside and maybe enjoy the tunes of the Hangla artists. So I leave my school, take a bus, and then go. And then we had all the good time in the evening, in as much as it was messy at the beginning when I was at the entrance and they were, where's your voucher, blah, blah, blah. But since it was almost later hours, like 10 o'clock towards 11 o'clock, so it was not so much stressful, and we sorted that. When her shift came to an end and we had to find our way to where she stays, and she stays at the Eastland. Oh, by then she was staying in Kayole. If you know Kayole and you are at Samba, you know how you can access the bus. So normally, during normal hours, you have to go to is it OTC? Yes, but at the odd hours, like 12 midnight, there's a certain place there along the streets that you can find these cozy buses that operates until late in the night. Then they just charge you. Of course, they charge you a lot, but you will always find yourself in Kayole or Yole. So we go and we spend much time waiting for a bus, and we don't even see. Most buses are just going to Utawala, some are going to Moja. And you know, when you are going to Kayole, there's an option that you can connect with either of the buses going to Utawala or Umoja. How? When you choose the one going to Utawala, you just alight at Donholm, and then you can find a bus that is going to Kayole. If you choose Umoina, you can take Umoina to B Center, and then after B Center you alight and then you can connect. So now I don't know how it looks like. Actually, I'll just tell what it looked like at that time on that particular day. We find a bus that charges us, of course, I think 80 shillings, if I'm not wrong. And because we really want to reach home, we pay, and we can, of course, that is what we expected. We travel, and then when we are almost approaching Donholm, the bus, the matatu we are riding on begins to hit on, and someone shouts, "Fire!" Oh my goodness, you can imagine fire when you are in the matatu, and that time is around past midnight. So every person alights in haste and haste. And then the driver, I don't know, he gets let's say a jerry can of cold water and then pours on the engine because it seems that the engine had overheated. After that, he gives us back 20 shillings. He said, okay, we've ridden all along from town up to here. Unfortunately, the incident has taken place and we can't continue with you guys. So all we can do is just to refund you your 20 shillings. Then you can find your way to Kayole. Just cross over. When you cross over, you can stand on the other side of the road and you will easily find a matatu that will be going to Kayole. You will be lucky to find one. I'm very sure. That is what he told us. Then he said, okay, no problem. At least you have not been victims of the fire that was about to go down. We cross over and then start waiting. Buses are coming. They're all full because it's weird hours of the night. Buses come, passes, matatus coming, passing. They're all packed. Even some people are standing. Then, luckily, read my lips, luckily, an ambulance comes. And then yes, hey, Kayole ndani. You say, oh, yeah. And then how much? He charges 20 shillings. Like, seriously, 20 shillings. That is what it's going to take to drop us from Donholm to Kayole at this hour of the night. And then we look at each other and say, yeah, we can get in. We get in, and then we get into the front seat, not the driver's seat, but if normal matatus, there's the driver's seat, and then there's this front seat that is always next to the engine. You can always feel the heat. So that ambulance was also built in that way. We didn't even think about looking back on the back seats, where there was one man, and then the person who was calling Kayole, and the driver was there was a driver and a cop sitting in front with the driver. And then you say, this one looks safe, we can just drive in. So the driver and the cop in the driver's seat, and then me and my cousin. I don't know if I'm the one who went in first and then she came. So we had the immediate seat after the driver. And then behind us, if you have ridden in an ambulance, you know how it looks like. At this point, we still have no idea what behind looks like. But you know that there's always that seat and then a space on the other side that they normally place the casket. So for now, we don't know anything about this ambulance. We just know that, wow, this is just a well-wisher who wants to ride with us in their ambulance, and they're having a police and blah, blah, blah. And then there's this man on the back seat. He seems to be intoxicated, like that is, he seems to be drunk, and he's talking and saying some things that we do not understand. When someone is, then we ride and we give out our 20 shillings. I give my own 20 shillings. My cousin also gives her 20 shillings, and we keep riding. Don't mind if I call her my cousin, because I'm so much used to saying cousin instead of niece. We're riding along. Then we arrive at a stage, someone needs to alight, and then someone alights and said, hey, that person is really giving me a lot of cold. At least I finally alighted. We didn't even digest what he said. You know, he said it in Swahili. He said, huyo mtu amenipea baridi. Hata si afadhali nimeshuka. And he just asked, what is he talking about? And because he was drunk, we just say, what is he saying? But then this other person who was riding along with us, who was calling, Kayole, said, you just alight and go. Thank God that at least we made you have a ride. Wewe shuka uende, wachana na maneno mingi, afadhali umeshafika unakoenda. That is when it don't. Now my cousin just shifted her neck. On shifting her neck, she said, do you know what that person meant? There is a dead person in this ambulance. And I asked her, what do you mean? And then she said, I can see. Is placed, or is covered in Macintosh. If you know Macintosh, I don't know how we call it in Swahili or in Luo. I can't seem to get it. And then I just told her, and then she was telling me She was trying to grab me and screaming. Then the makanga, I can just assume the makanga of the ambulance just told her, what is your problem? You've been riding all along. Why didn't you shout? And they say, my goodness, what do you mean? What is this guy trying to tell us? We are in this ambulance with a dead body. And then in front seat with the driver is a police, is a cops. And I just started imagining of the stories of how dead bodies have been stolen. And it is something very common, actually. It's not weird. It's weird, but it's very common that people have patients who had accumulated hospital bills, and then they finally die and they have no option other than to organize with the cops and the morticians to help them steal the bodies of their loved ones so that they can be buried. And I think that particular day, that is what was happening. And I truly saw it firsthand. I did not shift my head to look at the dead body lying in the ambulance. Whatever happened to me, I automatically, like, I suddenly became numb. I was feeling cold and shivering. And then something just came in my mind and started telling me, just assume maybe it's your father who is lying there. And I was telling myself, no, it cannot be my father, because my father is home and is in a mortuary, is not being ridden in an ambulance in the night. That is what happened, and we were both holding each other's hands very strongly and in fear. And my cousin is one who cannot hold on her fears, and she kept on pressing me and was now crying, and we didn't know whether to cry because we were riding in an ambulance with a dead body, or to cry because our own dead parent was lying at home miles away. My friend, that is when I believe that it is true. People go through a lot in the night. Like, let's say just from 8 p.m. to 12 to 6 a.m. in the morning, a lot happens. In as much as you might be peacefully sleeping, a lot of things go on. Like, where on earth were those people taking that body from? And where were they going to? When we finally arrived at Kayole, we were alighting at Chief. It's, if you are from Kayole, you know it's called Kwa Chief, because there's a chief post near there. That is where we alighted, and then we just found our way to where we were going. But they still went on. In fact, the cops alighted before us, so it was like the cops was trying to escort them past any police stops. Then after that, they can sort themselves, and they used an ambulance, like a real ambulance with all the space. And this was just an organized. I don't want to call it crime or anything, but now worst of it all, why would they ask to carry us for 20 shillings only so that we can ride with them in an ambulance with someone we don't know where he died, or even if he was a she or a he? My cousin was saying that he saw the legs. No, 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 no. I have been, and when we reached home, nobody was talking. She opened the door and we went inside, and there was no speech at all. Nobody was ready to talk. We were just silent, looking at each other, and we kept on saying, what did those people think of us? Like, anyway, of course they helped us. We arrived safely, but did they have to make us go through all that? So that is my random story of today. If you like it and you'd want to hear more of my stories, kindly don't forget to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. You can also press on the notification bell so that anytime I upload my videos, you will always be there to listen. Thank you for listening, and have a lively day. Bye-bye.